Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Whether you're tuning in on the radio dial here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM, we welcome you all back to our program. Also, those joining us through our online affiliates, as well as iHeartRadio.com. We're glad that you all could join us as well. We're excited to welcome Reginald Batiste to our program today. Reginald is an individual who's been able to bring stories to life for stage. We're going to talk to him not only about what it's been like for him to write, produce, and direct these projects, but also to be able to see them being brought to life by the talented cast he's been able to work with. Now, Reginald's gearing up for a very big 2018. We'll tell you at the end of our broadcast so you can stay connected with him and all the great things coming up for him. But, Reginald, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, glad to do it, Reginald. We're going to talk about, of course, the new year here in a moment, but I want to first of all talk about the reflection because you've been able to do this amazing work through your production company, Only Begotten Son Production. What has it been like for you, Reginald, to not only have had an idea, but to be able to see that idea brought to life?
Oh, man, it's fascinating. To be able to sit there and tell stories and just basically bring these, create these characters in your head and then just actually bring them to life and direct and produce and, do the casting calls and everything like that. And just, as you're doing the casting calls, you sit here and you say, okay, this person has exactly what I'm looking for this particular role. And just to actually see everything come to fruition, it's fascinating.
Yeah. So take us back a little bit then, Reginald. When did you first realizing that storytelling was something that you were interested in?
Oh, wow. I think when I was a young 12, 13-year-old kid, I used to sit here and I have these journals, and I would sit here and just write journals. I started off by writing poems, and I just liked to bring poems I would write poems as a kid, and I guess basically had a little girlfriend or whatever, write her poems or just write poems for myself or for my mother or whatever. And then just start developing into stories. At one time I thought I was going to go to Hollywood and be this big Hollywood writer. And, things didn't work that direction for me. But, it's just fascinating. I really, really enjoy, doing this, the creativity behind it.
Right. Well, I think that's the thing that people probably are also, excited to be able to see as well. But Reginald, because I'm sure you meet individuals all the time who say, I've always wanted, to tell this story, or I had this idea, but I just never did anything with it. What has that part of it been like for you to be a source of inspiration for others when it comes to pursuing their goals and dreams?
Oh, it's been great. I talk to people all the time. They say, hey, look, I have at least 2 or 3 books inside of me, different life experiences that they've have experienced or gone through, and they want to sit here and write the stories, but they never sat down to do it. And they ask me, hey, what was the inspiration? What made you sit down to do this? How did it develop? How did it come about? How to start off writing or telling stories and things like that. So, it's pretty cool just inspiring other people to, going after their dreams and not to give up on them. I mean, you're going to go through your bumps and bruises during the journey, but the good thing about it is you just don't stay stagnant in one place. You got to go through that valley, that dark valley. You have to keep walking through it.
Right. I think that is the amazing thing. So I mentioned to you before we began the segment, Reginald, that one of the things we talk about quite a bit, especially when it comes to people in the creative community, is how they have allowed their faith to overcome the fear. Because a lot of times when it comes to doing anything new, there is the fear of, is it going to work out? Are people going to like it? Are people going to, show up? Are they going to participate? What's going to be the response? How have you not allowed fear to stop you in the pursuit of your goals?
Well, that's a very good question. And what worked for me is my faith, and, not to, start preaching and all that. I'm not going to go there. But my faith, I just, believe in the Lord. I go to church on a regular basis. I just believe in what the Word says, even in the book of Psalms, David went through things, but he had fears and situations, but he continued to pray, seek God, and just to continue to go. And we got to realize also, that fear is the opposite of faith, or faith is the opposite of fear. So with fear, you don't focus on the fear, you focus on the faith, and you just keep moving, and usually things work out. Not always the way you want it to work out, but eventually, if you keep going, it'll work out.
Right. And I think that's the big thing. Now, you mentioned your faith, and I think, one of the things I noticed when I was prepping for the segment with you, Reginald, is that, your work is entertaining, but there definitely is a message. Do you feel as though your faith does find its way into your work just because that's a part of who you are?
Absolutely. All the material that I do, even when it comes to writing stage plays or, movies or even songs, I write songs as well. Everything is always inspirational. It's always your faith, holding on to your faith. Your faith is your anchor, and who's your anchor? It depends on who you talk to. My anchor is the Lord Jesus. So, that's my anchor. That's what I believe. That's what I hold on to. So when I go out there and I present material, it's clean. It's never profanity, no type of sexual innuendos, anything disrespectful. It's always just issues and things that people can associate with, that they've gone through, or they know someone has gone through something. And it's always a positive spiritual outcome on the other side.
Yeah. Have you gotten used to now seeing your name on programs, and as you're gearing up for 2018, seeing your name being listed there as a writer, director, and producer of these projects like Mama's Prayer?
Have I gotten used to it? No, not yet. I guess I haven't seen it enough. But, yeah, I'm sure in time, I'm sure especially with what's developing for 2018, I'm sure I'm going to see it a lot.
Yeah. Well, definitely, we're going to let our audience know how they can be able to see it as well. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Reginald Batiste to our program today. Reginald is not only a playwright, but also a writer, producer, and director. So take us into Mama's Prayer. That's one of the big things that's coming up for 2018, Reginald. It's starting in March there in Kentucky, where we have an audience there as well online. Take us into Mama's Prayer and kind of how it came about.
Basically, Mama's Prayer came about 9 years ago. 9 years ago, I was just sat down and I just started writing and developing a story about a young man who started off his faith in the church with his family, and then as he became an older teenager, young man, he decided that there's other things out there that he wanted to pursue. Women, drugs or whatever. And things happen throughout his life where he comes to an awakening where he had to make a decision. And that decision ultimately is in the play, and then you'll see that at the end, of course. I don't want to give it away. But,
sure.
So it just came about basically just things that just happened, transpired, I guess, in my life, different people that I know that have gone through things, stuff like that. That's pretty much it.
Gotcha. And I mentioned earlier about, what it's been like for you to inspire others. Talk to us about what it's been like for you to see how people have not only been entertained but also inspired by messages like what's in Mama's Prayer.
You know what? I've done shows before, and I'm going to tell you, after the show, when we are in the lobby, I bring the cast out. We're all in the lobby taking pictures, signing autographs, things like that. And when I hear people coming up to me and hugging me, mothers and old ladies and fathers hugging me, and they say, hey, this particular part right here made me think of my son, or that particular part made me think of my daughter. And, I thought my son was a lost hope, but after seeing your your product or your project, you know, you've given me hope not to give up on my child. You know, so that's warm. That's really, really touching to hear people say that.
Yeah, I think that is the big thing. And I think, too, to know that you're able to give something back. I mean, so who were some of the people who inspired you, Reginald?
Oh, wow. You know, it's just so many people out there. You know, I like a lot of the things that Sherwood Films do in their work and their body of work, you know, with Fireproof and The War Room and Facing the Giants. I love their work. It's always something inspiring. You know, playwrights from the days of old, and you know, so that's pretty much it. You know.
Gotcha. And so when you kind of look forward and thinking about the what's next for yourself, I mean, I know, as I said, you're planning the schedule for 2018. Dates are already being booked and available on your website that I'll have you give out a little bit later. Do you find yourself still kind of, you know, even though you're in mama's prayer mode right now, do you find yourself already coming up with ideas for other projects?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I've spoken to a few other people who are interested in other projects that I'm working on right now. But, you know, not to jump ahead of myself, I try to stay focused on what we're doing now because we're actually in the middle of a production, and the Mama's Prayer production. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But, oh, absolutely, I have quite a few things on my plate that I plan on transitioning from after this is complete, transitioning straight into other projects, yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about casting, because I think that's one of the other interesting things. I mean, you're able to work with some amazing people. Do you still have those wow moments, Reginald, when it comes to the individuals you're able to work with, and also who I have to think we have to say, who definitely are showing that they believe in your talent and believe in your work? I mean, what has that part of it been like?
The wow moments, I haven't had any of those moments as of yet, and I have worked with some and been around some pretty cool people. So no wow moments just yet. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question? I apologize.
Yeah, just knowing that they believe in your work and want to work on these projects with you.
Yeah, you know, that's actually a good feeling because usually when a person gets to a certain level, they're not going to work on something just for the money. Of course, you know, money is an important issue, but they really have to believe in the project. And if a lot of them don't believe in it, then they won't touch it. So, yeah, that is a real good feeling when people reach out and say, hey, look, I want to be a part of this. I want to have my name attached to this. Yes, that is a good feeling.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I think, you know, for anyone out there who has a goal or dream for themselves, I think to be able to look at what you've been able to do, I mean, definitely reminds people of what's possible if they're willing to do the work. And do you think that also is a big part of this, Reginald, that you are not afraid of the work? Do you think that really has been the key to the success you've had so far?
I do believe that, yes. You know, just always had a real stern work ethic, you know, started working when I was actually 8, 9, you know, cutting grass and just things around the neighborhood just to make some money, picking up cans and trading them in, and, you know, then going off into the military and serving my country, U.S. Navy. And so, I mean, yes, I mean, it just, my mother instilled it in me, and just as life went on, even in high school, I was in the ROTC, you know, so playing sports, you know, you just learn, you know, coach teaching you these work ethics and, you know, getting up early in the morning, getting into the gym, and just different things like that. So I had a lot of different good avenues throughout my life to help build that work ethic.
Well, I tell you, it's definitely paying off, and I think people can definitely see it in what you've been able to do already, and also what's to come. Again, everyone, Reginald Batiste has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Reginald. He's a playwright, writer, producer, and director. A lot of great things coming up for Reginald and his production company, continuing into 2018 with the play Mama's Prayer that's going to be hitting really stages not only across the country, but also definitely close to you as well. So, Reginald, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you and keep up what's coming up next for you?
Oh, yes, please. The email, my website address is onlybegottensonproduction.com. And onlybegottensonproduction.com. And production does not have an S on it. Everybody want to put an S on it. So it's just singular, onlybegottensonproduction.com. So you can go to the website, look at what we're doing, keep up with us. Eventually, hopefully, we can make it to your part of the area, and you can come out and check us out. And, afterwards, come up to me and let me know what you thought about the material.
All right. So there's your invitation. So make sure you all are definitely doing that. Go to the website, stay connected with it there. You also will find on the website ways to connect with them through social media as well. So definitely take advantage of that. Reginald, congratulations to you, man, and thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. God bless.
And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late and missed part of the conversation with Reginald, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media site. So head over to Facebook.com/Cyrus Webb or go to Twitter.com/Cyrus Webb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there as well. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.